This Impact Wrestling review was brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Try it, and the next time an aging veteran receives a lifetime ban from the world title picture, it will actually be, you know, for life. I thought last week's Impact was a damn good show, despite the fact, or maybe because of the fact, that a good chunk of it was devoted to tying up loose ends, wrapping up any remnants of the previous creative direction so they could move forward. I was okay with that for the one show, but I hoped that was the end of it. And it almost was. I'll give them props for covering a lot of ground in this opening segment. They addressed the AJ Styles situation, they officially detached Bully Ray from the AJ angle and pulled the trigger on the feud with Anderson, they announced this world title tournament and the participants, and this big battle royal match for the 8th spot. They did all that in about 12 minutes. Had this been Raw, that would have taken half an hour easy, if not more. So they're still really blasting through the information here, but this time I felt like it worked because each topic they were addressing sort of set up the next one and flowed into the next one. There was a point at the end where they were really fighting against those time constraints, announcing the guys in the tournament I wish had been drawn out a little bit more, but overall I thought this was one of the stronger openers they've had lately. Really have to give kudos to Dixie Carter. She has improved at this stuff so much since turning heel. I'll take Dixie Carter as the Impact Authority figure over Hulk Hogan any day. Maybe the performance instincts are still a work in progress, but when Dixie talks, she makes sense. There's no posturing or ego stroking involved, and she gets across what she needs to get across in a clear and concise manner without botching her lines in ways that the writers then have to backpedal and jump through hoops to explain. All things you really couldn't say about Hogan. And this tournament looks unbelievable. Look at the first round matches we're getting. Sabin versus Hardy, Rude versus Storm, Magnus versus Joe, Angle versus Aries. If that doesn't make you at least a little bit excited for the next few weeks, then get off my YouTube page. That is awesome.
Yes! 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 Yes!
There's one part I'm not so high on, though. This Wheel of Dixie thing. This part wasn't explained very well, but apparently every tournament match is going to have some kind of gimmick or stipulation, I think, chosen by the spin of a wheel. And cue all the haters bitching that they're ripping off Raw Roulette. Now, the gimmicks feel unnecessary in my opinion. I think just the fact that it's a world title tournament giving you a bunch of dream matches should be enough to sell this thing, but that's just me. We'll see how it goes. So they spin the wheel, and Sabin versus Hardy next week is going to be Full Metal Mayhem. That went by way too fast. I actually missed the result. The whole thing was over so quick, I didn't even realize it was going to be Full Metal Mayhem until I saw the Twitter notice. And if I missed it, it's a safe bet that viewers more casual than myself missed it too. That's not good. If you're going to do Full Metal Mayhem, for God's sake, make a huge deal out of the announcement. Make it impossible for the audience to miss. This harkened back to the Vince Russo strategy of just throwing gimmicks out there like they're not a big deal. I know with only 2 hours, sometimes they're going to have to cut corners, but this really should have been done in the ring and had a good couple minutes devoted to it. He could have taken that time from the Knockouts match and I don't think anyone would have complained. Oh yeah, that. They did Gail Kim versus ODB again. ODB is the former champion, so she was owed a rematch. She got it, it's done. Now it is time to move on. No more Gail Kim ODB matches. Enough is enough. with that 24/7 video of Gail issuing an open challenge to all newcomers. Next Thursday, I want to see Gail Kim wrestling someone new. Someone new. Meaning someone she hasn't faced before. If you've got Candice LeRae or some other new knockout getting ready to debut soon, now is the time, TNA. Now is the time. Hashtag Ballplex.
Ain't this an old-fashioned shot to the nutsack?
And yes, internet commenters, I know it's pointless to use the Ballplex on a woman. It was a figure of speech. Okay, so Gunstorm get their tag title rematch. Inexplicably, the Bromance retain, and James Storm, the man who is in your world title tournament and should be booked like a major player, now looks like anything but after eating his second consecutive pinfall loss to these jokers.
You people are fools!
I couldn't focus on the match at all. Not even a little. This whole situation baffles me. You've got the Bromance who, for a solid year, and in Robbie's case a lot longer than that, were made to look like the biggest losers on the roster. These guys couldn't win a match to save their lives. Zero credibility, no reason to think they're even worth paying attention to. They were the Brooklyn Brawler, basically. They couldn't have been a bigger joke if they'd tried. And then all of a sudden, they're the tag team champions and we're now supposed to take them seriously? Just like that?
What?
My personal feelings about these two have nothing to do with this, okay? This would make no sense with anyone in that position. We've been given no reason to take Robbie and Jesse seriously in any way, as any kind of viable threat to anyone. There was no effort to build their characters up. There's a necessary logical progression here that has been completely ignored. So them being tag team champions now, honestly, just feels like the writers are trolling the audience. If they had been made to look dangerous and racked up some credibility-building victories prior to Bound for Glory, then maybe I could believe it. I wouldn't like it, but I could believe it. But this? No. This was and continues to be bullshit.
I will not participate in this charade this evening.
Storm chose Gunner to be his tag team partner because of how Gunner was able to manhandle Robbie effortlessly, and now all of a sudden he can't? Suddenly Robbie and Jesse can be competitive with these guys? Why? How? What changed between then and now? Because all I remember is Robbie and Jesse getting embarrassed out of the building every week. And now they're pinning James Storm twice in a row? That makes me want to cry. It doesn't do anything for them. I can't even suspend my disbelief enough to buy into it. All this accomplished was destroying James Storm's character. I don't know how you fix him after this, but he needs to turn heel in the worst way because these last couple months of his babyface run have been really, really depressing.
This whole show is ridiculous!
With this being Halloween, you knew they were going to do some type of holiday or costume-related stuff, and with this also being Throwback Thursday, you knew it was going to be Bad Influence. Them doing that Sherlock Holmes shtick backstage was hilarious. I was cracking up. But then they took it to the ring, and this part was actually a very rare comedic misfire from these guys. I don't know what happened here, but this segment with the pumpkin and comparing it to Abyss, it just fell flat. I was stunned because Bad Influence have been so consistently great and entertaining for so long. This segment was a big anomaly. This just didn't work. Then Eric Young, the scientist Eric Young, comes out and he introduces Abyss, who once again cuts through them like a buzzsaw. So basically, this was the exact same segment they did at Bound for Glory, making it feel kind of pointless, to be honest. I do like that we're finally getting some kind of progression with this Abyss Joseph Park thing, though. I don't want them to completely pull the curtain back on it because it's been such a brilliant gimmick, but they are looking at it a little more closely, and that's good. It was about time something new happened with this. And for the record, if we're thinking about names for this EY Abyss pairing, the scientist and the crazy guy with the split personality, I think the choice is obvious. If you don't know where I'm going with that, see the title of the video. Shame on you, TNA. Shame on you. How dare you force Ethan Carter III to wrestle Norv Furnham a second time? Ethan already faced that juggernaut, that colossus of a man who looks like he takes enough steroids to kill a horse, at Bound for Glory, and prevailed against that unstoppable force of nature. And you make him do it again? This is completely unfair. It's downright cruel. In fact, it's probably illegal in some states. And the fact that Ethan somehow defied the incalculable, insurmountable odds and defeated that Leviathan not once, but twice, will forever serve as a testament, a monument, if you will, to the greatness, the majesty, the sheer unmother goddamn fucking believableness that is EC3.
Oh, my brother, testify!
Look, I like this angle of Ethan Carter getting fed these comic relief jobbers, don't get me wrong. But it's gonna get boring soon if you don't mix it up. Something different needs to start happening. Maybe develop his character a little more. Maybe he should start beating these guys two at a time or something, I don't know. But if it's just him beating up Norv Furnham and Dewey Barnes in one-on-one matches over and over again, it's gonna get old pretty fast. That's all I'm saying. Damn it, TNA! If you were gonna have Sting lose a Slammiversary match where the stipulation is if you lose, you can never get another world title shot for the rest of your life, then I think the least you could do is wait a good year before putting him back in the world title picture. But you couldn't even do that, could you? You just couldn't resist. A week and a half after you put Bobby Roode over Kurt Angle clean at Bound for Glory, making me think that you had finally gotten it through your heads that you need to focus on your future in order to ensure that you have a future, you have Dixie Carter lift the lifetime world title ban on Sting just because. Just because she feels like it. Because she can somehow just do that. Because it wasn't in writing or anything that he can never get another world title shot, even though I'm pretty sure there was a contract making that official at some point. The fact that Sting lost the Battle Royal is not the issue here. When you have Dixie effortlessly lift something as serious and binding as a lifetime ban, like it means nothing at all after you made such a huge deal out of it just a few months ago, you're basically saying that we should never take any stipulation seriously whatsoever. Nothing has any real consequence because Dixie can just throw them out at any time, whether they're in writing or not. You know what I would have loved to see here? For Sting to say, "No, Dixie. I put my name on that contract at Slammiversary and I lost. I'm going to be a man and honor my word about never setting foot in the world title picture again. That might not mean anything to you, but it means something to me." That would have made me respect Sting a hell of a lot. But that's not what happened. Wow. That's just great.
You could have done the right thing, but you didn't have the balls.
This Gauntlet Battle Royal was odd. The match was just fine, but I don't know what was going on with the ending. Magnus throws Sting over the top rope and wins the match. Awesome. Thank you. But I guess we're supposed to think that this was disrespectful or opportunistic of Magnus in some way. The announcers were hinting at that. And I don't know why. They're implying some kind of self-serving motivation on the part of Magnus here, and I just didn't see it. I don't know why Sting looks so shocked. Was Magnus just supposed to stand there and do nothing? Give Sting a free pass? Hell no. This is every man for himself. Magnus won the match fair. He didn't break any rules. He did exactly what you're supposed to do in a Battle Royal match. If this is teasing a Magnus heel turn again, and it seems to be, they're keeping it so ambiguous that I'm not really sure what I'm supposed to think about it right now. Nevertheless, the most important thing to remember here is Magnus won the match, he's in the tournament, and I absolutely believe that he's going to be in the final two, if not win the whole thing. Hell yeah.
Yes!
The main event is Angle vs. Roode in a BFG rematch. Another excellent match between these two, and the referee gives Roode the victory when Kurt can't continue. They do an injury angle where he's got a stinger or some type of injury affecting his motor control, and that's what we end on. I thought this was well done. It was a nice cliffhanger, and it's a compelling real-life storyline to do with someone like Kurt Angle, who it's really easy to believe would have problems like this after all the abuse his body has taken over the years. I like this a lot. But before I end this, there's something I want to call attention to again. There's still a problem with the editing. You saw this in the opening segment where the guys in the tournament were introduced. They had a little video package for each guy, and that was a nice touch. But you could tell by Dixie's delivery that this was something they only thought of after the show was filmed. The edits weren't very smooth, and it felt a little bit jarring. Also, all those ADR lines they post-produced into the commentary, these were atrocious. They didn't even try to make it sound seamless. In the future, TNA, please try to fill your weekly quota of Bellator plugs during the broadcast. Adding them in after the fact just makes the audio sound lousy. And that's about it for the show this week. I did have some issues with it, but this was a strong impact overall. And you know, generally, I'm feeling pretty good about where we're heading. This tournament looks really exciting on paper. The show's going in a productive direction. I like how my last few videos have turned out. You know, things are looking up right now. I mean, you'd have to be a real dick to rain on the parade now, just when things are going so. We interrupt this video to bring you a breaking news bulletin. Coming to you live with this earth-shattering announcement, 4th Dimension Fool Killer. My sources from deep within the YouTube organization have just informed me of a shocking turn of events. While they are not yet actively pursuing offers, I can now confirm that the owners of Fool Killer 99's YouTube account are looking to get out of the YWC business, and other interested parties are looking to get in. In other words, this YouTube channel is for sale.